Right? From what I Whoa! We have like no idea where to go from here.
3.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beer Brackets of the Month. Alessandro, we reached episode number 10, the season finale. Oh my God, man, 10 episodes. We've come quite a long way in our beer journey. And oh boy, do I have a special beer to open my beer brackets with you today, man.
Oh, I'm excited to see that, my friend. I also got my hands on one that I think is going to be exciting for you to hear about. After all, it's episode 10. It's a celebration. It's got to be.
If you guys haven't seen the other Beer Bracket of the Month episodes leading up to this one, definitely go down, click on that playlist. I'll put a link down below. Get all caught up before watching this season finale of Beer Brackets of the Month. Oh, man. Okay, so I think I've told you about Bellwoods Brewery in Toronto, here in Ontario, where I lived before, right?
Yep.
So this beer, my friend, this beer makes use of these wild yeasts. Calling back to our Orval review, oh, this beer is delicious. So normally I'd let you open, but you know what? I will let you open. I will wait. I will be patient. I was just about to jump the gun and be like, I got to open my beer first because I'm way too excited.
Well, that's a good sign. That's a good sign, my friend. You can go first too if you want. Otherwise, there's no problem.
No, please, we'll keep with the tradition. Tell me, what are you opening? You're delicious. I'm sure delicious beer brackets with today.
You're always such a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you so much. So,
and a scholar.
I have picked a beer that I hadn't had in a while, but that I was able to find
Always
again.
Makes it good.
And this beer is, first of all, it comes in a very interesting packaging, as you can see.
I can see that, yeah.
But it's the
really
Flensburger Pilsner. First of all, as you can see, it has this unique packaging with the top off, like so it's not a regular cork.
Raus! Flensburger Pilsner, erfrischend anders.
And the reason why I picked this beer is because it comes from a town called Flensburg in Germany, which is at the very far northern part of Germany, pretty much very close to the border with Denmark. This town is a town...
family lineage going back to Denmark.
Exactly. It's a town where we always stop going over the summer to visit my grandparents. And they obviously always had this beer. And then when I was very young, I couldn't taste it. But I remember clearly the bottles. And then once I got a little bit older, I got to experience it. And when I found it here locally here in the U.S., I was excited. And I thought, this needs to be featured.
So you were able to find that one in Total Wine?
Yes, actually, they have a few from the same brewery, but this was the one that I used to have when we were traveling up to Denmark. This brewery has been around since 1888, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow!
And they've always take a lot of pride in the quality of their ingredients. It was founded actually by, if I'm not mistaken, by 4 citizens of that city. It's currently owned only by 2 of those families, but it's still family owned and operated. As you can imagine, having this different type of capping system involves a lot of different issues with the bottling line and cleaning and so on. But there's a huge advantage in using this, not only for the packaging itself, makes it easier and you can reuse the bottle if you want to for something else. But if you happen to be a home brewer, these are bottles that are hard to find, and normally if you look for them, they cost close enough to the same bottles here, but with the beer inside. So I always thought the few times that I've experimented,
hard to find bottles.
Why not getting them already full, empty them, and then refill them after with your own personal beer?
Oh my God, yeah, valuable beer bottles. It's impressive. Well, before we crack that, wait, I see something there.
Look, it's Cerveza Corazon. I haven't seen him in a while.
We haven't seen him in a long time.
How are you doing,
really,
man?
Since he brought the perfect beer up to the beer heavens.
Right. We haven't really talked. How are you doing, man? How is everything? Really?
We did?
Did you hear that? Are you saying we unlocked another beer element?
Yeah. So we're at 3 now.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Wow.
So we're getting close here.
We're getting really close.
I wonder what the next one is going to be. We've got water, hops, malt. Okay. That's great.
Well, I think I have an idea what the next one will be. I got to tell you, I don't think we need the beer bell for this one because this works perfectly with the beer that I'm opening my beer brackets with. Maybe this will work in unlocking the fourth beer element, man, and continuing us on our journey. We'll have to see. I mentioned before it's from the Bellwoods Brewery in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm so excited about this one, man. Check this out. Oh, this beer is called the Intermodal. And intermodal, in this case, kind of refers to the fact that it's a blend of a whole bunch of different beers, a whole bunch of different wild beers. And in this in this case, it's actually 4 years worth. So it's kind of unbelievable. It's a massive blend. You know what the coolest thing about this is, man? You see the little logo there?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bell.
So see,
I
you
think
don't
it's a
even need to
sign.
ring the beer bell. The bell is
don't
in
even
the
need
beer.
to ring the beer bell. So you know what? It's kind of like Innocent Gun's barrel in beer method, where instead of aging beer in the barrels themselves, they chop up little bits of the barrel and put it into the beer in these sacks. We're doing the same thing, but with the beer bell. Instead of ringing the beer bell, we're just putting the bell in the beer. This is revolutionary. But this uses wild yeast. Maybe this will unlock one of the...
Look,
There's the hipster brewer. We haven't seen him in so long.
it's a comeback episode. Like, everybody's coming back to visit us. I love it.
There you go. We did it, man. We unlocked the fourth beer element.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're so close.
Yeast. Okay, but now, like, what's the fifth? How do we get to the fifth?
All right, nobody can tell us about
Okay,
that,
well,
huh?
nobody wants to tell us how to find this fifth beer element. Nobody's ever found it before. Nobody ever. I have an idea. While these little beer spirits hang out here and watch us, I think we should have a beer along with them. They're drinking. We're not drinking. That's not fair.
That's not fair
Let's
at
open
all.
These beers.
Let's.
It's not fair in the least.
So I'm gonna try and capture the sound that this makes because it's particular when you open it.
Oh, please do. Beer ASMR. Listen to that. You can hear the wild yeast playing. They're having a party. They're having a beer party. It's feasting, releasing all the CO2 as a gaseous byproduct. I have never had this beer before. I got this one as a wedding present from a friend of mine, and I've just been holding on to it ever since. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at the carbonation on this one. It's just exploding with a really thick, kind of like Orval, very similar, where it's that sort of pillowy kind of head, that kind of carbonation. It's not like a million different small sharp bubbles. It's a very sort of like soapy water. Cheers. Happy opening beer bracket. We unlocked 2 mystery beer elements in one. What a fantastic way to start off beer brackets of the month 10. Let's take a sip and let me know what you think of yours.
Oh, nice.
This is so good. Please start. Tell me all about it. How's it taste?
So I've had this before, obviously, but I haven't had it in a while, so it's nice to rediscover it. It's a pilsner, so it has that classic, very light or lighter body compared to other lagers, and it has that very sharp, crisp, bitter finish. But
Very sharp.
what I like about it is that it has its own character. You know, you can tell the water they use, probably the barley and the hops, like all like interact in a completely different way. And to me, it just really connects. It's funny, like how these things work sometimes. Like, you know, you smell something, it just takes you right back to that place. And that's kind of
Yeah,
like
it
what
takes you right
happens
back.
here. Like that character is more than anything, thinking about the different elements. It just reminds me of being on the trip with my family and, you know, driving up on vacation to see my grandparents. So it's just funny, but it's delicious. It's very refreshing. It has like a very...
Is it unlocking a beer memory?
It's a beer memory. It's a beer memory.
Beer memory unlocked.
It's an unlocking a beer memory. Exactly, my friend. But tell me about yours. I want to hear. Like, that sounds
I will.
incredible.
So they call this 100% spontaneously inoculated wild beer. And man, every time I hear that term wild beer, it makes me laugh. I love it. Going back to the wild yeast, the possible wild yeast living in our beer bracket sign. I love it. So it's actually, they say it's inspired by traditional lambic producers. So there is some open air fermentation that's involved there. Now, so like I mentioned, it's a blend of different years of this particular beer. And they say it's spontaneously fermented beer. So from 2018, 19, and 20. So it's exposed out to the elements, which is so cool, right? We haven't gotten to lambics yet on the channel yet, but when we do, that's going to be a really cool concept to dig down into. And it's cooled gradually. The word is that it's cooled gradually. And it's, they say, joined by the world's finest wild yeasts and microorganisms. that are capable of transforming it into beer. And then after that, so once all these different vintages of this beer are blended together, they age it for 3 years in oak barrels, which is pretty amazing, man. So this beer has come a long way. It's a little bit pricey, but what's cool is if you live in Ontario like I do, they do have free delivery if you buy a certain amount of things off their website. So if you happen to be watching in the good province of Ontario, you can check out Bellwoods and get some of their intermodal for yourself. You know, anything that you would expect that has those kinds, like you know, the breath of wild yeast. They do have a bit of a leathery aroma to it at first, a little bit of a white wine aroma, a little bit of like a vinegary sensation there too. It's super bitter, really bitter, but it's balanced out by this really high level of fluffy carbonation that just makes that bitterness go down really smooth. I've told you this before, I'm still kind of developing a palate for lambics, just because they're very bitter, but they don't sort of have a counterbalance to it. So you have to develop a taste to it. And by a counterbalance in this case, I mean like the high carbonation. That just makes it a little bit more palatable to drink that super vinegary, sort of sour kind of drink. But this one has it, and so it's super refreshing. So how would you compare that one in like in all the pilsners you've tried in your life? Where would you rank it?
That's a tough one. It has definitely a little bit more of a mineral character, and they say on the website that their water comes from this source underneath the brewery that is very unique, that comes from the Ice Age. So that might have to do with that. But you know, it's always hard to tell. Like when there are those like beer memories connected to it, like always ranks a little bit higher because it goes a little bit closer to home. So
I know
I would definitely put it in the high ones for sure. Like especially, you know, I'm sure this is just the bottle version, but I can't even imagine on draft must be incredible.
Oh wow. And you know what, those beer memories, they're very powerful. You know, we haven't talked about the power of beer memories just yet in very much detail. But oh my God, I mean, beer memories are probably what are keeping Guinness Draft atop the ultimate beer throne in the beer brackets world so far. Well, it still has to be challenged by the Erdinger Dunkel. We'll see what happens there. But beer memories are very, very, very strong.
They definitely are.
But I just had an idea. Seeing as how it's beer brackets of the month 10, I think we should take advantage of this monumental episode, this pillar of an episode in the beer brackets, in the history of beer brackets. This episode, I'm sure, will stand on its own. I think we should finally try and solve this 5th beer element mystery, and I think we should try and ring the beer bell.
I was thinking the same thing, my friend. Let's see what happens.
I think we should. Before you do this, though, I gotta say, I don't know what's gonna happen. I have a feeling, I don't know, the bell on the Bellwoods Brewery bottle here, I think there's a lot of signs. We have 4 already. I don't know what's gonna happen after this, but if I don't see you again, this has been a pleasure.
Likewise, my friend. Let's take a last sip here before we go.
One last sip of beer before we embark on whatever journey we're about to embark on.
All right.
Cheers, buddy. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, my friend.
Let's go.
I'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.
You're here.
Okay, wait. So,
what's happening?
I don't know, but I smell soup. We're in the ethereal.
Look. Yes. It's like a void.
It's a beer void.
It is. A beer void. That's what it is.
It's quite the beer void. And look at this. Okay.
My friend, look.
Wait. I've been wanting to try this beer for so long, and now it exists in the beer void. But we rang the beer bell to discover the 5th element. And now we're here. Is Guinness the 5th element?
Really? And is it the foreign extra stout specifically? I feel like
wait. We are together for the first time in the history of beer brackets.
This is an event. There's got to be a meaning here.
Maybe the 5th element is us. Maybe it's the drinker.
That's
the beer drinker.
Beer drinker. I bet that's what it is.
The 5th beer element
We did it. We discovered the 5 beer elements. And now our beer reward. Please.
Always a gentleman, my friend. Always a gentleman.
Oh my God, I have been wanting to try this beer for an insanely long time. And what better time to try this beer than with you in the beer void?
The beer
ethereal.
void. In the ethereal.
in these really comfy chairs. The Ethereal, I'm surprised. Like,
Yeah.
these are really comfortable pub chairs.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Look, and the beer bracket sign is here with
They
us.
thought of everything. They brought everything.
We are
Complete.
spoiled. Spoiled, my friend.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, my
Such a
friend.
pleasure to do this in person.
This is amazing.
To celebrate the discovery of the 5 beer elements, to the completion of our beer journey,
Our beer journey, my friend.
and to what comes next. Whenever that is.
We are ready.
Oh.
So what do you think, my friend? We've been talking about this forever. Tell me about this beer.
You've told me about this beer at least on 2 separate episodes, and now finally for the first time I get to try this. I don't know, I found the extra stout was just there. It was throwing a lot more hops at you. It smelled different than draft. This has those aromatic elements that
It
Guinness Draft
does.
has, I think.
100%. Like, I mean, so delicious. Oh, is it time, my friend?
It is time. It is
This
time.
time. Cheers.
To the ethereal, to the
To the
void.
ethereal, not to the
It
5.
feels so good. I feel just like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Right?
Like-
and to us.
Like a gaggle of beer spirits have been lifted off my shoulders. Oh, wow. Okay, you weren't lying. You weren't lying when you said this
Right?
was good. Yeah.
Isn't it delicious and
This is
rich
really good.
and complex?
You know, it's almost like Guinness Draft without the nitro. I mean, it's similar. It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more bitter. I think you can taste like the roast, like the barley a little bit more. The roast character is a little bit stronger. Everything's elevated a little bit if I had to compare.
A little bit more.
Is that fair?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I find the bitterness is a little bit more prominent, both coming from the hops and the roasted character of the malt. So delicious. Like, it's just like you said, it's Guinness, but elevated and without the nitro effect. So you get those carbonation bubbles that are more, classic beer.
Totally.
Carbonation.
Yeah, exactly. Classic beer. And it just goes to show you like what the Guinness Draft, like what the nitro infusion adds to the beer, because it creates this whole other element that is just takes it to another level. It's a completely different drink. And to have all those characteristics from Guinness Draft just stripped down
Right.
and then accentuated is just unbelievable. This is delicious. I wonder what our next beer journey is going to be. I'm going to have a beer journey.
That's a very good question. We've achieved the unachievable. We've found the 5th
Oh,
element.
something that Michael Jackson didn't even do. So yeah, definitely, if you can find the 4 and extra stout,
It's worth going for
it
it.
is worth it. Look at us with our legs crossed here in this,
Right.
this wonderful ethereal.
It feels like, it almost feels like it's
clouds.
flying. And there's clouds. Like,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. We've been talking about ethereal for a while. I guess we found it.
Found it. It's a little cold without the robes though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit.
I'm gonna say, like,
I think I saw the gatekeeper go by over there.
he's
up there.
He's up to something. I don't know.
He's upset about something.
It's like, I mean, he always is. It's all right.
Well, everybody, is this the end of Beer Brackets of the Month? We'll find out. Stay tuned. See what comes next. Just because this journey is finished doesn't mean there won't be another one. But we'll see. We'll have to see what the beer gods have in store.
No matter what, don't forget to close your beer brackets.
Never forget. Never forget.
Cheers, my friend.
It really does smell like soup.
Yep. Very distinct.